All right, let's talk about 2026, because Formula One isn't just changing the rules, it's hitting a giant reset button. We're talking entirely new engines, new cars, and a completely new philosophy on what racing should be.
And look, this is no small update. We're talking about the biggest technical shakeup since the hybrid era began way back in 2014. Everything that teams think they know, from power units to aerodynamics, is pretty much being turned on its head. It's a fundamental reinvention of what a Formula One car is.
So the big question is, what's actually changing? Let's break it all down piece by piece, because trust me, from the sound of the engine to the way a driver actually makes an overtake, Formula One is going to look and feel completely different.
Okay, first things first. The biggest changes start right at the heart of the car, the power unit. The 2026 engine is a complete rethink of hybrid power in motorsport, and it's moving towards a much greater reliance on electricity.
And the new power balance is just dramatic. F1 is targeting a near 50-50 split between the internal combustion engine and the electrical systems. The total output will still be over 1,000 horsepower, which is just insane, but now almost half of that will come directly from the battery.
Now here's a really crucial change you might have heard about. The MGU-H is gone, completely removed. You know that super complex, incredibly expensive part that recovered energy from the exhaust heat? Well, it had very little relevance to road cars. Axing it was the key that unlocked the door for huge manufacturers like Audi and Ford to finally join the grid.
So, to make up for losing that MGU-H, the power from the Kinetic Energy Recovery System, the MGU-K, has been massively boosted. And I mean massively. We're jumping from 120 kilowatts today to a staggering 350 kilowatts in 2026. That's nearly 3 times the electrical power. It's a huge leap that will completely change how energy gets deployed during a lap.
And powering that engine? For the first time ever, the cars will run on 100% sustainable drop-in fuel. So what does that mean? Well, it performs just like traditional racing fuel, but it's made from sources that don't add any new carbon to the atmosphere. It's a huge step towards the sports goal of being net zero by 2030.
All right, next up, let's move from the engine to the chassis itself, which is built around what the FIA is calling the nimble car concept. The goal here is simple: make the car smaller, lighter, and more agile to really improve that wheel-to-wheel racing.
So just look at these numbers. The wheelbase is being cut by 200 millimeters, and the car's width is shrinking by 100. Now, that might not sound like a lot on paper, but on a tight street circuit like Monaco, that is a massive difference that should make the cars far more raceable.
But maybe the biggest engineering challenge of all is this: a 30-kilogram weight reduction. In an era of heavy hybrid components, shedding that much mass is a monumental task. It's going to push these design teams to their absolute limits.
Even the tires are going on a bit of a diet. They'll be narrower on both the front and the rear. This not only cuts down on aerodynamic drag for better efficiency, but it also slightly decreases the overall mechanical grip, making the cars just a little bit more of a handful for the drivers.
Now for one of the most visible changes. Since 2011, we've all known the drag reduction system, DRS. Well, in 2026, it's gone. In its place comes a much more intelligent, much more dynamic system, active aerodynamics.
So let's break down the difference. DRS was a simple rear-wing flap just for the attacking car. The new active aero system is way more advanced. It adjusts elements on both the front and the rear wings, and it's available to all drivers on designated straights. It's not just an overtaking tool anymore. It's a fundamental performance tool.
It works with 2 key modes. In the corners, you're in high downforce mode, with the wings angled for maximum grip. Then on the straights, the driver engages a low drag mode, flattening the wing elements to just slice through the air and boost that top speed. Think of it like the car is literally shaping itself for the exact piece of track it's on.
So you're probably thinking, if everyone can use low drag mode, how do you actually overtake? The answer is the new overtake mode. This is the real replacement for the DRS advantage, an electrical boost that gives the attacking car a critical edge when it matters most.
Okay, so here's how a pass is going to work. The attacking car gets within 1 second, just like now. On the following straight, both cars switch to low drag mode. But here's the clever part. The lead car's electrical power starts to fade at 290 kilometers per hour. The attacker can then hit the overtake mode, which overrides that power drop and lets them deploy the full 350 kilowatts all the way up to 337 kilometers per hour, creating that speed difference needed to make the move.
So, we've covered the engine, the chassis, and the aero. What does this all mean for the action we're going to see on track? Well, the goal is simple. Create faster, closer, and way more unpredictable racing.
Because of that incredibly effective low drag mode, top speeds are predicted to be just immense. Some people in the paddock think that on high-speed tracks like Monza or Las Vegas, these cars could even scratch the 400 km/h barrier. That's 248 miles per hour.
This really highlights a key performance trade-off. With less downforce, partly from smaller underfloor tunnels, the cars are going to be slightly slower in the high-speed corners. But with that active aero and that huge electrical boost, they will be absolute rockets on the straights.
So for us watching at home, it means a whole new layer of strategy. We'll see drivers managing their battery charge, deciding when to attack and when to defend. Overtakes could happen in places we've never seen before. We'll have new manufacturer battles to follow, and most excitingly, with a totally clean sheet of paper, the competitive order could be completely shuffled.
Which brings us to the final, tantalizing question. When the slate is wiped this clean, it creates a massive opportunity. Every single team has the chance to find a clever interpretation and leap to the front. Who will nail this new formula and define the next era of Formula One? Well, we'll all just have to wait and find out in 2026.